Welcome to the Unitarian Church of Lincoln on this Sunday morning. My name is the Reverend Oscar Sinclair. Each week since the beginning of the coronavirus pandemic in March of 2020, our congregation has gathered together at least twice. On Thursday night, when we tend to our community and each other directly on Zoom, and on this service, on Sunday morning broadcast on YouTube. Sunday morning, whether in person or on YouTube, is a chance to proclaim who we are and what we are about, throwing open the doors of the congregation and proclaiming the radical love and welcome that is at the heart of our shared faith. The Unitarian Church of Lincoln, we say, aspires to be a loving community, uniting reason with spiritual exploration to transform ourselves and the world. And right now, this fall, in this year when so much is uncertain, we know that transformation is necessary. This is the place. This is the time. Who will we be? How will we be? In a time of anxiety and pandemic and fear, what are we called to be as a community? This is, as Reverend Susan Frederick Gray puts it, no time for a casual faith. And this right here, right now, is where we practice. And as Susan Frederick Gray puts it, this is no time to go it alone. And so this, right here, right now, is where we practice together. So take a moment as we begin. Be present right here, right now. Let go of what you've carried here. Set aside what will come later. Just be right here, together. There is work to be done. Let's be about it.
We light this chalice that breathes as we breathe, that burns as we burn. We light this chalice that flickers as our hearts flicker, that illuminates as our hearts illuminate. We light this chalice that is solitary as we are solitary, that is shared as we are shared. Though we are separate, may we be together here in winter's heart.
Voice still and small, deep inside all, I hear you call, singing. In storm and rain, sorrow and pain, still will remain, singing. Calming my fears, quenching my tears, through all the years, singing. Voice still and small, deep inside all, I hear you call, singing. In storm and rain, sorrow and pain, still will remain, singing. Calming my fears, quenching my tears, through all the years, singing.
Our story today is called The Stars Will Still Shine. The stars will still shine. The sky will still be there. The stars will still shine. Birds will fly over us. Church bells will chime. Cows will have calves. Kittens will sleep. Flowers will bloom, a promise they keep. We shall have peaches and we shall have pie. We shall have ice cream 3 scoops high. Homes will be cozy, homes will be warm. We'll curl up together when rain makes a storm. And in this new year, love will be strong, growing and growing all the days long. There will be goodness, there will be grace. There will be light in every dark place. The sky will still be there, the stars will still shine. Birds will fly over us, and church bells will chime. And that is the end of our story today.
Let me add my welcome. I'm Christine Davis, a worship associate of the church, and grateful to share a poem this morning by Philip Larkin. I invite you to settle in with these lines to better accompany the speaker in the poem. Church going. Once I am sure there's nothing going on, I step inside, letting the door thud shut. Another church, matting, seats and stone, and little books, sprawlings of flowers, cut for Sunday, brownish now, some brass and stuff up at the holy end, the small neat organ, and a tense, musty, unignorable silence. Brewed God knows how long. Hatless, I take off my cycle clips in awkward reverence, move forward, run my hand around the font. From where I stand, the roof looks almost new, cleaned or restored. Someone would know. I don't. Mounting the lectern, I peruse a few hectoring large-scale verses and pronounce, "Here endeth," much more loudly than I'd meant. The echoes snigger briefly. Back at the door, I sign the book, donate an Irish 6p, reflect the place was not worth stopping for. Yet, stop I did. In fact, I often do, and always end much at a loss like this, wondering what to look for, wondering too, when churches will fall completely out of use, what shall we turn them into? If we shall keep a few cathedrals chronically on show, their parchment, plate, and pyx in locked cases, and let the rest rent-free to rain and sheep. Shall we avoid them as unlucky places, or after dark will dubious women come to make their children touch a particular stone, pick simples for a cancer, or on some advised night see walking a dead one? Power of some sort will go on in games and riddles, seemingly at random. But superstition, like belief, must die, and what remains when disbelief has gone? Grass, weedy pavement, brambles, buttress sky, a shape less recognizable each week, a purpose more obscure. I wonder who will be the last, the very last, to seek this place for what it was, one of the crew that tap and jot and know what rude lofts were, some ruin bibber, randy for antique, or Christmas addict counting on a whiff of gown and bands and organ pipes and myrrh. Or will he be my representative? Bored, uninformed, knowing the ghostly silt, dispersed yet tending to this cross of ground through suburb scrub because it held unspilt so long and equitably what since is found only in separation, marriage and birth and death and thoughts of these, for which was built this special shell. For though I've no idea what this accoutered Frautsy barn is worth, it pleases me to stand in silence here. A serious house on serious earth it is, in whose blended air all our compulsions meet, are recognized and robed as destinies. And that much never can be obsolete, since someone will forever be surprising a hunger in himself to be more serious and gravitating with it, this ground, which he once heard was proper to grow wise in, if only that so many dead lie round.
What magic could me thus confine within another's grief to pine, where whatsoever it complain, I feel that cannot feel the pain, and all my care itself employs, that to preserve which me destroys, constrained not only to endure diseases, but what's worse, the cure, and ready oft the port to gain, am shipwrecked into health again. But physic yet could never reach the maladies thou me dost teach, whom first the cramp of hope does tear, then the palsy shakes of fear. The pestilence of love does heat, or hatred's hidden ulcer eat. Joy's cheerful madness does perplex, or sorrow's other madness vex, which knowledge forces me to know, and memory will not forego. But what a soul could have the wit to build me up for sin to fit, so architects do square and hew green trees that in the forest grew. This was an excerpt from A Dialogue Between the Soul and the Body by Andrew Marvell. Beloveds, we have much to mourn and also to celebrate. We grieve the loss of friends and family members. We grieve everything this pandemic has taken from us. And yet it is also possible for us to hold on to joy in these same moments. May we all continue to seek ways to stay connected with each other and with the mysteries of life. As this next song plays, please type your name or the name of a person or people that you hold in a joy or in sorrow. Thank you for your presence.
Hi, I am Jamie Radcliffe. I'm a worship associate of the Unitarian Church of Lincoln. As I looked out of my window as I was writing this, snow was on the ground and the air was still. All that moved against the white were squirrels chasing each other and a blue jay wondering where its daily helping of cat food had gone. The answer to which was that it had gone inside with the cat. We are at a time of beginnings and endings. We are at a time of stillness. We are at a time of waiting. We are at a time in between the old year and the new, between the darkest day and the new sun, between the realized hope of a vaccine against COVID-19 and the nitty-gritty of its distribution and uptake. As T.S. Eliot wrote in his poem Burnt Norton, at the still point of the turning world, neither flesh nor fleshless, neither from nor towards, at the still point where the dance is, but neither arrest nor movement. And do not call it fixity where past and future are gathered. Neither movement from nor towards, neither ascent nor decline. Except for the point, the still point, there would be no dance, and there is only the dance. At the top of a diver's arc, there is an instant, as any calculus professor will tell you, when the diver is neither rising nor falling, when they hang motionless. The last week of the year always feels to me just like that. This year, maybe more than most. This feeling of stillness also echoes for me in Philip Larkin's poem, Church Going, our first reading. I know from my youth the solemn and quiet dignity of an ancient church, the melancholy of a church built in the 15th century for 2,000 people now serving a community of 500 souls. I know the desire to play act solemnity as farce. Larkin was not a church attender. In a different poem, he talks about religion and the fear of death. This is a special way of being afraid no trick dispels. Religion used to try that vast, moth-eaten musical brocade created to pretend we never die. He imagines, in church-going, a time when churches will fall entirely out of use. And yet, he says, it pleases me to stand in silence here. And yet he writes, a serious house on serious earth it is, in whose blended air all our compulsions meet, are recognized and robed as destinies. Asked about his religious beliefs, Larkin famously replied, I'm an agnostic, but an Anglican agnostic, of course. He felt the pull of that serious house, was surprised by a hunger in himself to be more serious. In this midwinter hush, at the still point of the year, maybe it's a good time to think about the essence of the faith we share. Well, whether that's a good idea or not, it's beyond my powers to sum up. Nancy Schaefer describes well in the following reading the difficulty of presenting the essence of faith in words.
These words from Nancy Schaefer. I have been looking for the words that come before words, the ones older than silence, the ones not mine that can't be found by thought, the ones that hold the beginning of the world and are never used up, which arrive loaned and make me weep.
Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe in, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love.
I have been looking for the words that come before words, the ones older than silence. Those words ring in my heart and capture something about what is central to my church going. I have a suspicion that these words before words beckoned also to that self-confessed curmudgeon, Philip Larkin, when he wrote Church Going. Rather than find the impossible, perfect words, I want to show examples of people that stand out in the map of my small u universalist faith. In no way am I claiming these people as being really UUs, they just didn't know it. It's sort of the opposite. I want to hear as a UU from Philip Larkin as well as from Ralph Waldo Emerson. Though Larkin was in no sense a UU, in no conventional sense religious, he has heard the words that come before words and tried, better than I possibly could, to translate them. My second example is a more personal one. When I was a nipper, say from ages 7 to 11, my best friend was Ezriel Karlebach. He lived a couple of streets away, and I spent as much time with him as I possibly could. In a small storage room in his house, we would pretend to be Captain Kirk and Mr. Spock. We both desperately wanted to be Mr. Spock. We would discuss science fiction and the definition of pop music. We would play board games in the enormous lounge, picking one of the many tables to sit at. Sometimes he would take me through the enormous kitchens where kosher meals were prepared. The grand scale was certainly not from Ezri's family's wealth. It was simply that Ezri's parents, Myrna Karlebach and Dr. Julius Karlebach, ran the Hillel House in Brighton that provided housing and kosher food for university students, both at Brighton College and the University of Sussex. Ezri and I went to different secondary schools. We mostly lost touch then. We saw each other a couple of times in our teenage and young adult lives. At age 50 or so, while visiting my hometown of Brighton, I discovered that Ezri's father had become a bus. A big red and yellow double-decker bus driving towards me. The bus pulled up to the bus stop, and my family and I got on. I had some trouble explaining to them why I was so excited. The bus was named after Ezri's father. It was named after Dr. Karlebach. Taking it as a sign, I called Ezri and had a long conversation with him about his life and also about his father's life. Julius Karlebach was the son and grandson of prominent German rabbis. His parents and 3 younger sisters died in the Jungfernhof concentration camp, but he and his oldest sister escaped to Britain via the Kindertransport. Later in his life, he was a sailor in the Royal Navy, ran an orphanage, became a rabbi, moved to Kenya, wrote a history of the Jewish community there, returned to England, got a PhD, taught at the University of Sussex, became rector of the College of Jewish Studies in Heidelberg, and near the end of his life was awarded the Order of Merit of the Federal Republic of Germany. I knew almost nothing of this when I was young, not even that he was a Holocaust survivor. I'd figured out that he was an Orthodox rabbi, and I even vaguely knew what it meant in this context to be Orthodox. But Dr. Karlebach was then a distant figure, interfering little with our games and talk. It was only after he was dead that through Ezri, he came a little into focus for me. Ezri described his father's struggles with the God problem. Dr. Karlebach told Ezri, late in life, that he decided that God is a euphemism for the totality of existence. To quote Ezri, a neat way out of the dilemma of being an atheist and an Orthodox rabbi. In his rejection of an all-too-human God, he echoed Benedict de Spinoza, the 17th century Enlightenment philosopher and rationalist. In the example of his life, a life I only caught a small glimpse of, he showed how he felt one should live one's only life, helping, thinking, listening, writing. Thinking about the work and lives of Dr. Karlebach, of Spinoza, of Philip Larkin, of Mary Oliver. Yes, there's Mary Oliver in this service too. I see a thread of resonance through them. Without, universe forbid, attempting in any way to co-opt them as Unitarian Universalists, they seem to me all to be small u Universalists, describing and demonstrating that the lives we live, the hopes we have, the thoughts we think, only make sense from the broadest of perspectives. Offering neither simple solutions nor platitudinous prescriptions for the good life, they acknowledge the deepest mysteries. They claim the diversity of people's experiences and beliefs as a fundamental, chaotic, and beautiful part of the life we all live. The grumpy Anglican agnostic, the atheist Orthodox rabbi, the poet who asks us, tell us, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? The rationalist philosopher. They each capture a portion of the far-flung corners of what our faith requests of us when it asks us to draw the circle wide, draw it wider still. All around are people who differ tremendously from me and from each other on many details, their religion, their politics, their strange desire to root for the Kansas City Chiefs rather than the Pittsburgh Steelers, their calendar, their holidays, and their language. But the stars that will continue next year to shine on me will continue to shine on them. We are all walking under the same sun, taking one more step together into the unknown future.
Each week, we take up an offering to support everything that goes on here at the Unitarian Church of Lincoln. As the next song plays, if you feel so inclined, please text UC Lincoln and the amount you'd like to give to 73256. That's UC Lincoln and the amount to 73256. Thank you so much for your support of everything we do here at the Unitarian Church of Lincoln.
One more step, we will take one more step, till there is peace for us, and everyone will take one more step. One more word, we will say one more word, till every word is heard by everyone. We'll say one more word. One more prayer, we will say one more prayer, till every prayer is shared by everyone. We'll say one more prayer.
Mysteries, yes, by Mary Oliver. Truly, we live with mysteries too marvelous to be understood. How grass can be nourishing in the mouths of lambs, how rivers and stones are forever in allegiance with gravity, while we ourselves dream of rising. How two hands touch, and the bonds will never be broken. How people come from delight or the scars of damage to the comfort of a poem. Let me keep my distance always from those who think they have the answers. Let me keep company always with those who say, "Look," and laugh in astonishment and bow their heads.
I can look at the sky and make up a story that tells who I am. I don't know where I'm going, but I can look back at the places I've been. It's a really big world, lots of stories to tell. Never know what you feel until you take the first step outside of yourself. No matter where I'm waking up, feeling the wind on my face. Taking a moment, remembering I took a run in this race. Don't worry now, there's nothing wrong. You're always right where you belong. Everyone wants love, we're all the same. You're not the only one. We're walking under the same sun. We're walking under the same sun. When you look from afar, your dreams and the days start to blend. If every moment you start, it changes the way that it ends. Everywhere in the world, all the things that I've seen, all the billions of people are living their lives like they want them to be. Don't worry now, there's nothing wrong. You're always right where you belong. Everyone wants love, we're all the same. You're not the only one. We're walking under the same sun. We're walking under the same sun. I know I make my own luck. No matter where I'm waking up. Don't worry now, there's nothing wrong. You're always right where you belong. Everyone wants love, we're all the same. You're not the only one. We're walking under the same sun. 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 I can look at the sky and make up a story that tells who I am. I don't know where I'm going, but I can look back at the places I've been. It's a really big world, lots of stories to tell. Never know what you feel until you take the first step outside of yourself. No matter where I'm waking up, feeling the wind on my face. Taking a moment, remembering I took a run in this race. Don't worry now, there's nothing wrong. You're always right where you belong. Everyone wants love, we're all the same. You're not the only one. We're walking under the same sun. We're walking under the same sun. When you look from afar, your dreams and the days start to blend. If every moment you start, it changes the way that it ends. Everywhere in the world, all the things that I've seen, all the billions of people are living their lives like they want them to be. Don't